Welcome back to another episode of That's Business. Today's guest, Vanessa, is a partner and brand strategist at VanKel Brand and Strategy Co. The first 10 years of her career were spent as an account and project manager at 3 local agencies. In early 2020, she decided to follow her passion of brand strategy and started VanKel with her business partner. Vanessa is also behind the scenes of The List Detroit. In the spring of 2021, she was looking to grow her business through networking, but was having a problem finding local professional events, so she decided to create a place where those could live. When she's not creating badass brands, she's probably reading, walking, networking, or chasing around her 18-month-old daughter. Vanessa, thank you so much for being a guest on the podcast. I feel like this is a few years in the making.
Yes, thanks for having me. I'm really excited.
For those listening, Vanessa and I briefly brushed shoulders at a few events before, and then I found out from The List Detroit actually that you were having a awesome vision board event, and it was just so much fun. And of course, we're going to dive into The List Detroit and everything. But throwing it back first, what did you want to be when you grew up, and what was your childhood like?
Oh man, so when I was a kid, I always noticed that I loved rearranging my room and organizing, repainting, moving things all the time. So I think deep down inside, what I wanted to be was an interior designer.
Ooh.
It's something I'm still interested in. I do follow a lot of accounts that gives me some inspiration. So I feel like that was my calling when I was younger, but clearly never pursued that. So.
Well, you're in still a creative role, so we're, a little different, but amazing.
Yes.
And then transitioning into high school and what that was like, where did this more creative side of you come out, and kind of walk us through your early career and then getting into VanKel and what you're doing now?
Yeah. So when I was in high school, we had an advertising class, and I really, really enjoyed the creative part of it. I also, from there, went to a trade school sorts for high schoolers for marketing.
Oh, awesome.
I was really involved with that. I did some competitions, really enjoyed that as well. So when picking for colleges, I knew that I wanted to go into advertising. So when I left high school, I went to Ferris State University, and they offer an advertising program. So that's really how I ended up there from high school.
Amazing. And then you get out of college, you go into local agencies here in the Metro Detroit area. So at what point were you kind of walking through and being like, I need to do my own thing?
Oh, there's definitely a backstory behind that. So kind of going back to college, I was super involved with the ad club and the ad group and AAF. I was the vice president of the ad group there. I loved taking charge. I loved inspiring, the younger class. Really liked to get my hands dirty on projects. So I always knew that there was a sense of leadership there, and a sense of entrepreneurship in me as well because of that. So a little bit of my career story after college, I graduated in 2011. So finding a job was super, super difficult at that time. I actually worked at a bar until I found something, and that something was an internship at Team Detroit. But I was going to take anything at that point. I really enjoyed my time there. I learned a lot. I had an amazing team. I'm still friends with some of the people on my team, which is awesome. But unfortunately, given some politics there really wasn't anywhere I wasn't growing as fast as I could be. So I got an opportunity at another local agency at MRM, and I worked there for about 5 years as a project manager, loved the people, but I wasn't in love with the work I was doing. I was still hungry for that entrepreneurship, that business ownership, that leadership that I really wasn't getting at these agencies. So from there, I went to a really small agency. I think there was about 9 people working there at that time. So I went from working with hundreds of people to just 9 people, and working on multiple different clients, where before I was just working on automotive. At this new agency, I was working on 20 plus different types of industries, which was amazing. And being that close to, the CEO and the other founders, I was able to learn a lot about how to run an agency, how not to run an agency, really learn about sales and that client nurturing. And then from there, I got to work really close with their brand strategist. I attended a lot of the meetings, the client meetings, the interviews as the project manager, but I knew at that moment, like, this is what I wanted to do. I loved the branding side. I knew I was good at project management, but I didn't want to do it anymore. I didn't want to make timelines anymore. I didn't want to make tasks anymore. It was super repetitive, and I was honestly just getting really bored with it. But because they hired me as a project manager, that's what I was expected to do. So I knew that if I wanted to be a brand strategist, I would either have to move companies or quit and start my own thing, which is what I did. So at the end of 2019, I made the decision, and March 31st of 2020, I was going to quit my job.
Great timing.
Right. We all know what happened after that.
Yes.
So I did not quit March 31st, but I did start kind of building what I wanted to do, what that business would look like. And any free time I had, I'd really just focus on what is it that I want to do? What kind of impact do I want to make on the world through branding and through brand strategy? What kind of people do I want to work with? I knew that I had control over that. So I wanted to make sure I was really going to enjoy what I was doing and enjoy the people that I was going to work with. I actually met my business partner at a networking event in December of 2019. We got happy hour in February of 2020, and she already owned a brand business. So in what month was that? I think May of 2020, she knew my plan and she was halted. She hired me to help her with a big project she got. She just wanted an extra brain to like throw ideas around with. Well, that project, we had so much fun working together. It was super successful. We got to fly out to California and do a photo shoot.
Wow.
And so we just decided, hey, let's do this together. And with the support of her, with the support of my husband, friends and family, I quit my job and we started VanKel. And that is how I got to where I am right now.
I love that. And that's such a good story, because that was going to be my next question, is how you and Kel had met. It's so funny. I did not know you've only known each other a few years, because you have this synergy at events and anywhere I've seen you, even like on socials, like it was meant to be for sure. And I'm not just saying this because there's some people that are partners like, oh, okay, you've been friends 20, 30 years. That makes sense. But that's so fascinating. I did not know that. What makes your company different? Because we have a lot of people that do brand strategy, marketing work, and so forth. But what makes VanKel different than some of your competitors?
Well, that's a really great question. As Kelly and I like to say, we're the magic sauce, but really it is how we work together. We're very open with each other, and we know our strengths and weaknesses, and where I need to step up and where she needs to step up, or where I need to step back and where she needs to step back. So I think overall our relationship and our dynamics, and just really knowing our strengths in the businesses and really admitting to what we're not good at, makes us a really great dynamic duo when it comes to branding. I'd say another thing is our process. So we, in the short amount of time we've been working together, we developed a really awesome process that we take our clients through. It's really fun. It's really thought out. But when we take our clients through it, the feedback we always get is, wow, you really make me think about my business in ways I have never thought about before. We really take the time to pull out pieces and just kind of like, and be rebels with it, right? And kind of push our clients out of their comfort zone just a little bit. That helps their brand really become what it is and a lot different than their competitors. We don't try to do everything, right? We know that we are good at branding. We're not copywriters. We're not, well, Kelly's a designer. I'm not a designer. But we're not designers. We're not website builders, and we don't try to be. So through the 3 years we've been together, we have really pulled together this Rolodex of people in the most Detroit community that are great at those things. And we bring them in where we see fit. Like if we think Kathy would be great for this client, but Brian would be really good for this client. So it's not like one size fits all for our clients. We really custom the people that we partner with to really help us create that brand come to life. So I'd say, long answer short, really it's who we are as partners, our process, and the community that we have really brought together to make these brands come to life.
Amazing. And if someone wants to work with you that's listening, are you still taking new clients?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, we are. We'll be starting taking new clients in May.
Perfect. This will be out around May, so that's perfect.
Oh, perfect.
Now, of course, the VanKel side, awesome. But even more so, since you have so many facets of you, I want to talk about the List Detroit.
Yes.
I want to hear from your story. Of course, you said in your bio a bit, but what was going on in your head that you started the List Detroit? And I'm happy to even give like my 2 cents on it because I freaking love it. But
Love that.
tell me how the List Detroit became what it is today.
Yeah. So as things were opening back up in 2021, I believe this is like February, March of 2021. Kelly and I had a few clients. We had a couple case studies. We had our process we created, and now it was time for us to grow. And the way to grow is to meet people. So we had this goal of let's attend 2 to 4 networking events a month just to get our name out there, to meet new people, get new connections. But when I was looking for events, I was looking on Instagram, Eventbrite, Meetup, LinkedIn, Chamber of Commerce website, like so many different places, and it was exhausting. So I was like, why isn't there one place where all these professional networking events live? So I said this out loud to Kelly, and I was like, well, let's just create it. And she's like, okay. So we were at a networking event in Detroit. We went to Beyond Juice for lunch, our favorite place. And it was literally one of those things where we had a napkin, a pen, and we just wrote out the whole idea. We came up with the name, like the brand, what the voice, the tone, what the email would look like. And our goal through the whole thing was to just make it super, super simple. Just literally a list. Like, don't fluff it up or anything like that. That's all people, that's the value, right? So we just created it right there. And then the next week we made the website, we created the logo. And then the week after that, we started talking about it and getting people to sign up and just start doing it. So but from the idea to it actually happening was about 14 days.
Oh my God.
It was quick. Yes.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
You're just like, no bullshit. Like, let's do this shit.
No.
I love that. I need to take some lessons on that capacity. But the part I love, because I've put a few of my events on it that I have coming up in the future, and it's so easy. Like, I put it on a few other networking groups and stuff like that, but oh my gosh, it was so easy to just put it on there. And I'm like, thank the Lord that it's not like 20 questions and all these details. It's more like, just go to the link and see it. So thank you for designing it super simply and not making me fill out 20 things, because I hate doing that.
Yeah.
What the List Detroit does is, and I'm just going to give you a little ploy on it because I'm obsessed with it. It's really awesome because it's truly a diverse group of events. The issues with like Chamber of Commerce or other networking groups, which I am a part of, is it's like convoluted, or it's just like not a pretty way to see it. But the email you give out is just like, hey, here's the dates, here's the sectors of what it is, and this is why this is free, this is not. I mean, it takes me 30 seconds every time I get the email to just say, okay, yay, nay, let's move this, let's add that, done, delete. And that's exactly what everyone needs. And I think too, I mean, I've said this on multiple podcasts, but these are the events that grow your business. I mean, I always thought like, I have to be so established, I have to do this. And if anything, it's better to get involved when you have this idea or are early stages. I mean, there's no wrong time to get involved in networking, but that's what grows your brand. I mean, I know you're a part of a co-working space, as am I, but that even helps more. But it's just like, it's fun when it's at the point of be like, oh, I know who you are. And I feel like when we met, I'm like, oh, I know who you are. I've heard about you for the last few months. And that's what you want. So I love the List Detroit. Please sign up for it if you're listening to it. It's link in the show notes, because if you're in the Metro Detroit area, it's all over the place and it's chef's kiss beautiful. So thank you.
Yeah.
For building this out, because it's so awesome, but amazing. So what do we have in store? Because you have a lot of facets of what you do. So what are some of the goals or plans of expanding with the List Detroit, with VanKel? Where are we looking for this year?
There's quite a bit. So with the list, I'll start with the list specifically.
Yes.
Wanting to bring more value to the list. We have so many ideas. Other than events, what else can we bring to professionals in Detroit? What other things we could bring to help connect people, or maybe to help them, with like networking tips. Like, not a lot of people like to network, or they have a fear of networking, or they're really not sure what to do after networking. So working through that content and providing that so people just have some resources and some tips. So, what to do once they meet someone, or how to follow up, or even how to host their own networking event. So that's really where the list. So stay tuned for that. Oh, and I also have great news. So right now the list goes out every other Monday. Starting Monday, it will be out every Monday.
Ooh, amazing.
So it's going to go from a bi-weekly email to a weekly email. So big news there. For VanKel, honestly, we really just love where we're at right now. We are obviously taking on new clients. Again, we have this great process that we really just want to share with other businesses. So that's really our goal with VanKel right now. It's just to help as many businesses as we can with their brand and help them create brands to attract customers, to attract employees. That is what I love to do. So really right now for VanKel, in the next year, it's just like growing and getting more clients. And then what was the third one personally?
Personally, yes. Let's go through it.
I'm not really sure what this next year is going to bring. I'm excited for it. I'm a new mom. So really just, taking advantage of the fact that I am a business owner and reminding myself that one of the reasons I did do this was to create my own schedule and to spend more time with the people that I love and they care about, along with doing the things that I love to do. So really trying to just remember that, take the time for myself, take the time for my family to reset and recharge. That way I am showing up 100% when I do my work and when I do work with my clients. So just keeping that in mind.
Funny enough, because I was just thinking of this before we even got into personal goals. I'm like, you had a child, 18-month-old, you started a business.
Yeah.
How do you balance everything? And you started the List Detroit in the meantime, because why not? Let's do the whole damn thing.
Right.
Do you sleep or you don't sleep ever?
I'm finally sleeping now that my child has figured out how to sleep.
Good.
It took her about 15 months to figure out how to sleep through the night. So I'm really grateful for that. But how I balance it all, planning, having a good schedule, a calendar, but really it's support. Being really open and honest with Kelly. Her and I both have our personal lives. We're both moms. We're both driven. But shit comes up a lot. And one person may have to step up when they need to, right? There was a time where I was a caregiver for my grandma in the end of 2020. And Kelly was super supportive of that. She really stepped up as our business was just getting off the ground and stepped in and did a lot of work. And when I was pregnant too, and she made me take a maternity leave. And it is so hard to do that when you are a business owner.
Yeah.
So I am forever grateful for Kelly for really pushing me to take that time. Those first 3 months with my daughter. And as well as like my husband, again, great support system, always pushing me. He really steps up when I need him. If I have networking events to attend or if I have, projects I have to work with, he really, steps up with our child and our home and our pets. So it's really just like having a really good support system and people that they're not going to judge you if you have to call in or if you can't make a meeting or, accuse you for like slacking or anything like that. Like, just having a good support system that understands that shit does come up, especially when you have a child or if you're a caregiver that you just can't control and not feeling bad about that.
Amazing. Now, as we wrap this up, what advice do you have? Already the wonderful piece of advice and story you told, but what piece of advice do you have for listeners?
Yeah, so I have so much advice I could give, right? But given the conversation that we've had today, it's really just about who you know. Just get out there, meet people. Even if you're not a business owner, you don't have to be a business owner to go out and network. If you want to change career paths or you're wanting to work at a new agency, but you're not really sure where to start, go to places where those people will be at. How I got to where I am today is because of the people I have met along the way. I got that internship at Team Detroit because my professor called one of his past students that worked there. I was like, please hire her. She's amazing. She's awesome. Just find something that she can do. I would have never gotten that job if it wasn't for the professor and his connection at that agency. And I got the job at MRM because my college friend worked there. She called me and said, hey, there's a ton of open positions. You should apply. I met Kelly at a networking event.
Yep.
I met you at a networking event. So the clients that we have right now, the two of them, I met at a networking event. So it really is, as much as, even as many events I've been to, I still get nervous walking into every event. What am I going to say? What am I going to talk about? How am I going to introduce myself? But it does get easier, it gets better. You get more confident. That's my advice right now, is really just meet people, because you never know what you're going to learn. You're never going to know who they know. You never know if they're going to be, a business partner or a lifetime friend. You just never know. So get out there and meet as many people as you can.
Yes. And I love that too, because I'm extreme extroverted, like 99 percentile score on every personality test extroverted.
I'm an introvert, which is so funny.
It is funny, but I still get nervous too. And I love doing speaking engagements. I've done plenty of them, but that's a great point to bring up, is you still get nervous. Like I came from one this morning where I had to present to a room of 100. It was just like a 5-minute little thing, but it's still nerve-wracking, and it's still like your people will come from that. Yeah. Or, you screw up. I've screwed up plenty of times where I'm like, oh, I can't speak on what I do for a living, apparently, but It's just so interesting. So thank you for bringing that up and reiterating, like, you're an introvert, but you still understand, like, you still network and get out there. So yeah. Vanessa, this has been so much fun. I'm so excited to see the List Detroit continue to evolve, and VanKel as well. But for those of you listening, if you want to sign up for the List Detroit, link in the show notes, you want to work with Vanessa and Kelly, you can also reach out to them, and tune in again next week for another episode of That's Business.
If you're looking for a career change and you're not sure where to start, the Resume Rescue can help. Sure, there's no such thing as the perfect fit for everyone, but here at the Resume Rescue, we're on a mission to find the perfect solution for you. Whether it's changing careers, updating a resume, learning LinkedIn, or practicing interviewing, we have you covered. Find us online at theresumerescue.com and find all of our contact info in our show notes.